You're enjoying Racing World. It's brought to you by Perspective Group. It's your global motorsport podcast show brought to you in conjunction with Race Control Magazine.
Welcome back to Speedway, Indiana. It's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here on Racing World. 2 days away now to the 106th running of the Indy 500 presented by Gamebridge, and it's Carb Day here. Carb Day itself, it's been wet, it's been wild, it's been lightning, there's been hail, there's been thunderstorms, and there's probably more to come. But pretty shortly, some 2 hours later than expected, there'll be cars out on track. Weather forecast for Sunday, race day, hot, and dry, thankfully. It will be the hottest conditions that drivers and teams have faced all month. What that will do to aero settings is anyone's guess. You're going to have to be very good to judge just how far you trim this car out and sacrifice downforce. So it will be a great and interesting race, that is for sure, come Sunday. Yesterday, however, there was the final media opportunities, and I had the chance to catch up with a lot of the leading contenders, particularly the two New Zealanders, and talk to them about Indy and what it all means. When we came here 20 years ago, you and me, how do you see this place now by comparison to how we saw it together back then?
I don't know. Like, I think coming as a rookie, it's eye-opening on many levels, but also just because you don't know what to expect as well. Like, I guess it's kind of a little bit easier in some ways, opposed to doing it for this is my 20th year. You know what's around every corner. So, it's vastly different. You know, even from competition, you know, from those days to what it is now. You know, those days I think you could probably fight between sort of 5 or 8 cars, where it'd be 15 or 20 now. So, it's a big difference in competition level, I think, just with how compact a lot of things are. So, but yeah. It's been a great 20 years so far.
Yeah, the car's certainly evolved since those days. You know, that was the Toyota engine for you back then and all those sorts of things. But the current model car really does look like it's a car that's built for this place as well, doesn't it? You know, it's a speedway car.
Yeah, I think that, you know, IndyCar have done a tremendous job with just safety innovations. You know, whether you look at the introduction of, you know, the safety wall to, you know, the side intrusion stuff that we've had, and then, you know, obviously now with the canopy, you know, that's I guess in hindsight, you just wish it maybe came a bit earlier. But yeah, you know, it's everything always evolves. You know, the race itself has changed fundamentally. I feel like, you know, it is maybe a little bit more difficult race-wise, middle pack. You know, it has become more of a track position race, which I think has, you know, changed a lot of things. So, you know, you used to be able to rebound. I think if you look at one of Dario's wins where he's, you know, got taken out and spun in pit lane, went to the back of the field and was able to drive back through. You know, those days are gone.
Ramon, David from New Zealand, you seem to be enjoying what you're doing now for a job. And when you get enjoyment out of doing that, does it make it easier?
I guess so, yes. Yeah. I mean, we're not saving the world, we're not saving life, we're just entertaining people as racing drivers. So I think we know we have to take ourselves seriously we have to do it seriously without taking ourselves seriously. Yep. It's a fine balance, but yes, I'm having a lot of fun, doing the best I can. Obviously, that's always what you want to do, but yes, I'm having fun, and I think that's important. You know, the last couple of years in Formula One were not very funny, just because, I don't know, the team was what it was, and we didn't share the same mentality. I wanted more, I wanted to be competitive, and I don't think that's what was happening right there.
Yeah.
So, yes, you know, every time we go on track, we have a chance to try to go for fastest lap or pole position or win, and I like that. I like that atmosphere. I like the fact that when the day is over, with 99% of the driver, you go and have a beer and enjoy the fact that you had a good racing.
I look after a lot of young drivers in New Zealand, and one of the things we always say to them is the fact that when you enjoy this part of the sport, then you're going to deliver more on track as well. Would you subscribe to that?
Yes. I think it's, you know, you don't need to be running the 100 meters in less than 10 seconds. You don't need to be lifting 200 kilos on a bench press to be good at racing, but you need to be in the right place in your head. And I think having the fun and being able to enjoy it, that definitely brings you in a sweet spot.
Taku, I had the privilege to be in Tokyo last year for the Olympics. Very beautiful country, firstly.
Thank you.
For you, I think I now understand the passion just as I do for Scott as a New Zealander about what it means to the Japanese people to have you win this race here.
Yes.
And do you feel that hometown support back from Tokyo here?
Absolutely. I mean, we're geographically obviously too far away here. Not everyone can easily come here, but we do occasionally. Japanese fan flew into the 500 in the last 13 years, and I always feel it's great support from my home country, and not just only Tokyo, but the home all over the Japan too. That I always have been, wonderful with the loyal fans, and always. And as you say, Olympic game last year, due to the pandemic situation, was very challenging, but everybody is really passionate about sport, and in the motor racing is one of that too. So I'm particularly proud to be one of the athletes, to challenging of the countries, and certainly when we had a great winning, great achievement, we always have such a great support. So I feel really appreciated.
I went to a convenience store one night when I was there, and went to the back of the store to get something to eat, and there was a poster of you. And I thought,
was it?
I'm in Taku's town right now.
That's great. Great to hear. Great to hear. Pleased to you enjoyed it. That
I
one.
did.
Yes.
Tony, when you look back on it, as a New Zealander, a guy by the name of Steve Horn found you many years ago. What would you say to Steve now about the journey that's transpired as a result of that meeting?
I don't know. Obviously, you probably don't know this, but I do talk to Steve on a daily basis. Yep. I mean, a weekly basis. But
he's still dad, isn't he?
He's still my dad. He hates to say it because now I'm old, so now he's really my dad. I can't thank him enough.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Steve is 90% of the reason that the person that I am today, that the driver that I am today, and actually the person that I became. I came here, I spoke zero English. Christine taught me a lot. I learned how to curse with Christine as well. But Steve and his work method and his focus on just keeping me straight and made me who I am. So I told him that plenty of times, and I would always repeat it when I can. He's my mentor, and he's a guy that every race I don't take for granted, and I thank him for what he's done for me.
And then looking towards the race this weekend, Ganassi haven't had this number of cars inside the positions that they are in the very, very
Never,
long time.
actually. We never ran 5 cars and had them in the fast 12.
Does that make things different for you guys as a team in the first, say, 100 laps of the race?
Well, it helps, right? You have your teammates around, so you kind of play nice. But at the same time, I know, look, I mean, everybody that talks to me, they're saying, guys, you guys. And that kind of attention I really don't like. That's an extra pressure that now the expectation is there. If we don't win, if you don't win the 500, you're already a loser, but let alone when you're expected to win. So in 2013, nobody talked about me, and then everybody talked about me. So it comes with the territory. But yeah, we have a big job to do on Sunday, and it's going to be, Chip gave us everything up until now. And like he told us, it's up to you guys.
So when it comes to maybe that last 25 in the race, car number 1 versus car number 9, just game on?
Car number 1 versus car number 9. Car number 1 is going to do everything he can to win against car number 9.
One of the questions, Scott, that I've had from viewers of the show is they want to know the transition from the supercar to the single-seater. Because of the size of the cockpits between the two of them, have you cosmetically noticed that difference over a period of time? Does the single-seater tub now feel more like home?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing is the proximity of the race car. Like learning, I used to scrub my mirrors along the walls in supercars, and I'd sit on the right side of the car. So obviously the right wall was a lot easier than the left. But in the open wheeler, obviously you're in the dead set middle of the car, and your wheels are what you use as measurements, not your mirrors. You don't have anything like that. So that's been hard to learn the proximity of the racetrack and how big your car actually is. And it's probably taken me some time to be a bit more aggressive in traffic and all that sort of stuff, just because I'm learning how to race these things wheel to wheel with people in close proximity to many things. So that's probably been the most difficult thing, just getting, my proximity right.
And then this year, with qualifying, probably with quite a few more people, I assume, than last year. And then race day being different. And there was something actually that Elio mentioned earlier on about the crowd, and you notice the crowd going into turn one. This will really be your first experience of seeing a crowd of that size.
Yeah.
Is that a distraction as a driver?
I think you test all day, doing bits and pieces, all week, months, seeing the silver bleachers and all that sort of stuff, and then you see a whole heap of crowd there that day. But ultimately, like you're in the zone, so like it there's probably just more your peripheral vision changes, the colours and stuff are a little bit different. But it's definitely going to be a crowd that I've never competed in something as big as this, So I'm super excited for that and to experience it, see my family experience it, and it's going to be a new thing for all of us. Even though last year was still 130 something thousand people, a lot. So
I guess emotionally as a driver that has to get to you as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, for sure. As a driver, certainly it's a big deal. It's certainly very full on and such a big moment for families and whatnot. But it's something that's very exciting.
As you well know, I'm a trustee of the Elite Academy at home, and we're about to go into camp pretty much as soon as I get back home. And a lot of young drivers now are aspiring to be Scott McLaughlins.
Yeah.
If you were a young kid going through the Elite Academy in Otago in July with us, and you were asked the question about aspiring to your dreams, and I talked to Hunter McElroy the other day, and I know you've spoken with Billy Fraser, who's one of our coaches as well. What would you say to them about, yes, you can get there?
I think New Zealand punches above its weight in terms of talent and how good our series down under is in terms of breeding up young talent, and you've seen that, I think, especially with Marcus and Liam Lawson and then you see now Billy Fraser going really well in his second year in F2000. We have a great pool of talent, so I guess in some ways treasure like what we have down under and the conditions you get put in, like rain and hail at Teretonga and wind and all that sort of stuff. You learn a lot at where we are, and you can learn a ton with the tracks down south before you go overseas. So don't rush that process. Enjoy that process, and then hopefully bigger and better things will come in your career.